you're a business owner, maybe an operator, take a moment and think about what is it like for you to have peace of mind? Just take a deep breath, right? Like you're probably like, Chris,
After a day like today, I could use a deep breath
I'm
too.
a business owner. What do you mean peace of mind? So yes, that is possible. Now think about your IT, and do you have any peace of mind around your IT, especially if you're trying to do it yourself? Probably a little bit hectic and going, you know what? This is not my thing. I just want to go build my business. So always great to have our good friend, the CEO of 702 Communications, Brian Crommett, in studio to talk about, you know what? Take the tech stuff off your plate. Go focus on sales and marketing and what you love to do. Let 702 take care of the rest. Then you can sleep well at night.
Hopefully, that's the whole hope, right? You offload enough, you delegate enough that finally you can get things crossed off your list in a day. You can accomplish some goals, and you can do what you're good at, knowing that you've got somebody else backing you up on the IT side that knows what they're doing for sure. And you know that whatever work that they just did that you paid them to do is going to be done right.
There's nothing like hiring an expert.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. There are plenty of things. There are plenty of things that people try to do themselves. And, there are whole shows about people like remodeling their own houses and doing a terrible job at it. And that's not to insinuate that everybody does their own tech does a terrible job at it. I'm not saying that. But I think we all know, any of us that have done DIY projects know that it takes a lot of our time because that's not what we do every day. So when you do have to fix a problem and you're going to take that on yourself, it's going to take a lot more time for you to do that job than it would take for a professional to do that job.
Well, I think a really good example too, the DIYer thing, I get, I'm not a DIYer. So maybe, but a good analogy that I can appreciate is like, look, in the court of law, I can go defend myself. I have a right to do that.
Yep.
But holy cow, I don't want to. Right. I want to hire somebody who's an expert. And I think that's a pretty good analogy because look, I say the wrong thing, I mess up one thing, it can cost me a ton of time and a ton of money if a judge goes, bad move, Berg.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Go ahead.
And my point to you is like right now I look at tech with ransomware and attacks and like, it's not something you want to just sort of play around with and take lightly, right?
No, I completely agree. You see all the time people who don't necessarily know or don't have their finger on the pulse of technology and don't understand how bad things can be when you're not upgrading your equipment or you don't have all the ports locked down on your firewall that you really need to or something like that. Maybe they're trusting the same consumer grade router they've got at home, to let them watch Netflix or whatever to secure their business. And maybe they're going to be fine like that. But in this day and age, like you say, with all the attacks and with all the ransomware that's out there, is maybe good enough for you, or should you spend a little bit of money to get somebody in to do an evaluation, to make a recommendation, and to just take care of that for you?
Let's say I'm a business owner, and again, I don't fully understand all this stuff. Let's say I did get a ransomware attack or something to that effect. Like, if I'm going to try to figure that out myself, what does that set me back? A few days, a few hours?
It depends on how much is compromised. There are lots of numbers out there. There are lots of studies out there on how much actually recovering from a ransomware attack costs. And it's anywhere from thousands of dollars per employee to, upwards of millions of dollars by the time you're said and done, depending on the size of your organization, of course. But it really, when you look at the risk, you really have to think now about, as scary as that is, how much risk am I willing to take on, and how much is that worth to me to try to mitigate it?
If you're just joining us, so the CEO of 702 Communications, Brian Crommett. If you want to find out more, go to 702com.com, 702com.com. I think one other interesting angle here, Brian, is the fact that, in my opinion, this is not financial advice, but it's just, you can see the economy starting to slow down. And I'm in sales and marketing, and I get that, hey, look, now to generate the same amount of revenues, I'm going to have to make some extra calls, dive for some extra loose balls. Same thing for small business owners, where now the time becomes even that much more valuable to generate revenue, not worrying about tech. And I think the beautiful thing about what 702 does is that it's really not that expensive.
No, I that's really true. I think about my own tech experience, and of course I came up through 702, doing all the hands-on tech stuff. But it's been 10 years now since I've been really hands-on with tech. And can I still, build my own computer? Can I still fix my computer troubles? Sure. But can I do it as quickly as my managed service team could get it done? Absolutely not. And so can I save myself 2 hours of my day letting somebody else take care of that for me? And what does that really translate to for me? Just in a cost savings, like what do I value my own time at, for my business? But what could I be doing for my business while I'm troubleshooting my own IT? There comes a point when it just doesn't make sense for you to be spending that time when times are tight. Spend a little bit of money so you can focus on doing what you need to do and not have to worry about downtime.
What are some of the most common problems that managed services at 702 Communications solves?
I think there's a number of things. You hear people talk about slow network speed, right? And I think that people are fast to just point the finger at an ISP and say, well, my ISP stinks because I'm not getting the speed that that I'm subscribed for. But if you actually look at that, is that true throughout your network, or is it when you're standing in one room, you can't, your phone doesn't connect as well? Well, maybe we need to redesign a Wi-Fi network for you. So every business has some sort of frustration with IT, and they might make a bad assumption about what's wrong. And so, managed service from 702, just coming in and doing a consultation, understanding your needs, is going to help optimize your network. So that's one, right? Another thing too, then, is, PCs. When you're working through the day, and you might get this pop up to say, I've got an update downloaded. Do you want to install it now? What percentage of your users, or how many times have you clicked not now?
Every time.
Well, right. And by clicking not now, you have maybe have just exposed your network to a vulnerability, and you may have just put your entire network at risk. So when again, with managed service at 702, we can install agents on your PCs to monitor update status, to update during the evening, or, when people are away or whatever, but to make sure that your productivity continues, but your security persists.
So break it down for me this way, because I presume that now, especially in today's job market, I'm going to go find a pretty decent IT full-time employee. I'm talking probably 75, 80, at least $90,000 a year.
Yeah.
Right?
Really, depending on experience, maybe you get somebody, brand new, 50, 60, but yeah, 60, 70, 80, 90K. That's not out of the realm of reality in this market for a quality IT person right now.
And the nice thing with what you guys do is it's sort of, I just outsource it. If I need you, call you, but give me some ideas. I know it's different for everybody, but you're talking a couple $100 a month, $500 a month.
I would say for the majority of small businesses in Fargo-Moorhead, you're really looking at a couple $100 a month to have us take care of all of your network equipment, maybe a couple of computers, maybe even a server. But you can maybe spend $500 a month with 702 and have a really comprehensive managed service IT plan that's managed professionally, monitored professionally. And we're going to give you updates and give you real-time feedback on where you could still improve.
And thus, I go to bed every night sleeping like a baby.
Sleeping a little better anyway. You got one thing you don't have to worry about. I can't fix all of it.
I got about 45 seconds left. What else would you like to share as a final word, please?
Well, you and I were talking, and I think we want to launch a promo code today, right?
I think absolutely we do.
All right. So working with Chris here, helping to educate the listeners here at Flag, we'd like to throw out a promo code to give your first month of managed services free with 702 Communications. Just mention promo code The Flag when you call 218-284-5702 to talk about managed services.
And if you can say like President Trump, who knows? Maybe they'll even give you more, like The Flag. Hey, yeah, I'm calling out somebody. The Flag. So give them a call. It's 218-284-5702. Again, 218-284-5702. Say, hey, I want to get it's a free consultation, number one. And then if you end up signing on, you get that first month absolutely free if you just call up and go, The Flag. So you'll be good to go.
Regardless of accent or inflection.